I used the title Khumbula Ekhaya for this essay, also the name of a popular reality television show broadcast across southern Africa and meaning Remember Home. I speak with Zoliswa Mali, professor of African languages and education at Boston University. She is Xhosa, the mother of 3 sons. We viewed a number of her family photographs together, creating a dialogue about memory, belief, visuality, and photography. From our conversations, I interpret Xhosa gender and body symbolism, as well as the gendered and transnational nature of familial ritual. Reflecting on her pregnancy while viewing a digital photo of her friend's newborn child, Zoliswa recalls a prevalent Xhosa folkloric belief linking pregnancy, the visual perception of mother's facial features, and child's gender.
You see, in our culture, there are these beliefs. I shouldn't call them myths because people have reason to believe so. They sometimes can look at a mother's facial features when she's pregnant and predict what kind of child she's going to have. Sometimes they will say, "Oh, you are so ugly in your pregnancy," stuff like that. You're going to have a boy.
You are so ugly in your pregnancy.
You see, some people will have swollen faces, swollen lips, whatever, when they are pregnant, different things that their friends or family interpret as being ugly. So they will be like, "You look ugly, you don't look like you usually do, so we know you're going to have a boy." They are not always right, sometimes they are. And I guess she must have looked not her usual self, and she was so sure that she's going to have a boy. I remember with my last born, I was so wishing for a girl. And for some luck, I never looked ugly in any pregnancy. So these predictors couldn't just look at me and say, "You look ugly, you must have a boy." People will be, "Oh, you look so beautiful." Look, I mean, pregnancy usually alters somebody's looks somehow. I don't know why. So those looks should have made me have girls, and I don't have a girl. So I remember one time, there I am standing at the window of this particular store, wanting to buy a nice pink jumpsuit for a baby girl. It was so fluffy and beautiful. And a friend, I didn't even see her, she was coming from behind me. And she's like, "You're wasting your time, don't buy a pink thing, you'll never have a girl. You're going to have a boy again." And I'm like, "No." And I'm like, but okay, what she said kind of warned me. So I ended up not buying the pink. So I could have ended up like this one, having a boy who has pink clothes. Because my wish was to have a boy, a girl. So I was fooling myself thinking, really, I may be going to have a boy.
The symbolic qualities of these folkloric beliefs suggest a semiological reading. The child is unseen, at home in the mother's womb. Yet the external features of the woman's face indicate the reality of the interior features of the child. Anthropologists have noted a prevalent Southern Nguni gender ideology that prefers the birth of male children. Males are future homestead heads, chiefs, soldiers, and fathers of lineages. The visual perception of faces are subjective interpretations of a culturally conditioned system of signs which constitute a scale of ugliness, ububi, and beauty, ubuhle. Adapting the semiology of Ferdinand de Saussure to the ethnographic material, the signified ububi is in paradigmatic or associative relation with the male gender. The paradigm levels may roughly correspond with the ritual and biological phases of birth itself. During pregnancy, the child is unseen, although the male gender is present by virtue of the ugliness of the mother's face. Birth itself is the liminal stage. The world is thrown into anti-structure as the mother and child straddle the binary of life and death, potentially sliding into either dimension. Postpartum, the child's gender is clear and present, and the mother is no longer chided as being ugly. We now turn to 2 photos taken by Zoliswa's cousin's family on a collective trip returning to their family's parental home in the rural Eastern Cape of South Africa, introduced by her musings.
Because I think that's what Linda's family had in mind. Because, I mean, they have big posh houses in Johannesburg. When I'm in Joburg, I live with them. And they chose to go take pictures of their dilapidated home. I mean, driving this huge, beautiful Range Rover is parked in front of a pitiful-looking house, but to them, it carries some memories, you know.
Finally, I engage Marianne Hirsch's argument that, quote, "a familial gaze can transform diversity into specular mirroring and can reshape global issues into domestic concerns. The comfortable class position of this family belies the long historical transformation of persons and groups in South Africa. Xhosa used to regularly dwell in homes made of thatch, mud, and natural materials. Only under the extensive effects of Dutch and British colonialism, apartheid state racial and ethnic segregation, and post-apartheid social, educational, and economic restructuring did the creation of a, quote, modern South African family occur. The return home for Zaliswa's family is first a phenomenal reproduction of a kin relational self and memory by moving through the spaces where parents breathed, slept, and ate. It is also an act of historical implication, the architectural ruins and remnants speaking to the lingering presence of state and colonial power and its subjects' agentive decisions negotiating that power.